And welcome back to episode 15 of Sin and Finn, the Dugout Decision Show. My name is Aiden.
My name is Christian, and what a season it was for the Toronto Blue Jays. It's been about a week to reflect on what a great season it was, and this episode is all about just looking at all the good and bad spots, things like Andres Jimenez hitting cleanup opening day, and just other things like that, and how we ended up going to the World Series in just such a crazy season.
Yeah, the baseball schedule is really funny. I mean, it's a one of a kind sport. Your team can look so different in April, right, compared to October. You go through 162 games, so many guys come through the roster, and the best bunch will remain at the end. And like you said, we look at what the lineups look like back in April. Some of the guys that were playing for this team. I mean, we had Will Wagner and Alan Roden in the opening day lineup. Guys like Buddy Kennedy were getting at bats for this
Mm.
team. Will Robertson, some of these names. So. Yeah, the team can change a lot, but how about the 2025 Jays getting the most wins in a season since the 93 squad that had 95 in their year? They put up 94 this year after being a subpar team in April. First month of the year, it looked like we were repeating 2024, right? We were below 500, and boy, the narrative really changed from there.
Yeah, I mean our offense was really struggling in April, and for the real Blue Jays fans listening, it was a tough watch. Like at the end of the season, that this was a fluid offense and an offense that scored a lot of runs. That was not the case early in the
No.
season. You would scratch to get a few runs, and then Dan Shulman would be like, "Oh, you just got to get to 5 runs, and then the pitching staff will see if they can hold it for you." And it just was pretty ugly, man. And there was a big stretch at the start of the season. It was just very inconsistent. We would sweep, say, the Nationals, and then we would get
Yeah.
swept by the New York Mets. And it was a constant thing, like just no
Yeah.
consistency at all. And that was something we were lacking in the past, was just any sort of consistency. We were a very streaky
Yeah.
team. And then near the end of the season, we started to be a lot more consistent. If you look at the middle of the season, before the All-Star break against the Oakland Athletics in Sacramento, we were just limping into the All-Star break, and it was
Oh
not
man.
pretty. But then after that, you sweep the Giants, and then, of course, you play a lot more consistently after that. And then, of course, September started to tail off, and then the Yankees came back in. But just such a great season of ups and downs, and a lot more ups than downs. Just
Yeah.
a tough way to go out in the last game of the year, but definitely one of the most fun teams I've ever watched.
You just reminded me of something mentioning that series against the A's when John Schneider probably had arguably his best ejection ever when he was tossed out of a game after I think it was Davis Schneider that hit a home run that looked like it was fair. It turns out it was foul. He ends up going deep, like a couple pitches later, but seeing Schneider have to walk all the way out to the outfield and point to the umpires that yeah, that ball was actually fair. That was funny. But exactly, so many moments like that in a season. And think of the free agents that they brought in as well, right? Jeff Hoffman, who came in and was nails in April. He was really good when the team was struggling. Team starts to perform a little bit better. Jeff Hoffman can't figure out how to close out a game anymore. You brought in Anthony Santander, played through April, didn't really do anything. He had that one signature home run against the Red Sox, and he was on the shelf the rest of the year, banged up. He couldn't do anything. Andres Jimenez found time on the injured list, right? And he was terrible during the regular season as well offensively. Max Scherzer makes one start against the Orioles, looks pretty bad, and he's out until end of June. So you to think that most of the guys that you brought in from the offseason really didn't provide that much, honestly, during the regular season. The guys that you started the season with, we mentioned some of the names that were on the roster. It's incredible what this team did. The Buffalo AAA roster that was able to get it done. And there were a couple of turning points, I think, this season. Some of the biggest games I look back to end of May when Bo Bichette comes in against the Texas Rangers, has a pinch hit two-run home run to win them that game. Part of a series win in late May against the Rangers. They also previously in the month had gone into Seattle and swept Seattle in early May. You think of the Canada Day game, George Springer going deep twice. You sweep the Yankees at home and the Canada Day stretch. There's so many moments. The Tyler Heineman walk-off. How about that against the Astros late in September? again, we won the division by one game. The Yankees, I believe, went 6-0 down the stretch in September, and had we lost an extra game throughout the season, we wouldn't have the division. We'd possibly be in the wild card, and we know how this team fares with wild cards. They really, really don't like the wild card. So many special moments like that that proved to be really costly, and they were really important to have. So a lot of special moments from this team.
Yeah, 100%. And I just think back to April and our big free agent signing, Anthony Santander just comes out of the gates. Like he was awful. And
Yeah,
but everyone's saying he's always awful in April. This is just what he does.
yeah, I remember that.
And then you get to May and okay, starting to turn a corner, and then you get in LA and he just runs into a wall and you don't see him for 3 months. Like
No,
crazy stuff. But just going off that, like that Rangers game was the peak of our offensive woes. If you watch that Rangers series at Globe Life Field, like oh my goodness, just such a hard watch. I remember
horrible.
I was putting my laundry away and just had the Jays game in the background, kind of depressed because of what's been going on, and then it's like the Moneyball moment, like you see the crack of the bat. Oh, keep going, gone, and then after that they took off. I mean, how many
Yeah.
times this year did you see? Well, since the Texas Rangers game where Bo Bichette hit this huge home
Hmm.
run, their offensive numbers have been this. Like Sportsnet would show that a lot, and there
Yeah.
was a reason for it. They were great after that. And then even later in the season, you lose a series to the Pittsburgh Pirates, and that was a really hard one,
Oh
hard for
man.
me to watch, and that was in heartbreaking fashion too, if I can remember. And then even
Yeah.
against the Royals, that was the Max Scherzer game where didn't have the best outing in the first inning, and then those Yankees kept coming, man. They finished the regular
Yeah.
season on a winning streak, and it went down to game 162. Very fortunate to be there, and Alejandro Kirk against Ian
Oh man.
Seymour with the grand slam. Just so many moments this year, and we're not even talking about Jonathan Clase against Ryan Helsley. Okay,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We're we're
Wow.
in we're in St. Louis, Bush Field, Ryan Helsley on the mound. This is like a great closer. This is a guy who throws heat
Yeah.
against against what? Like a quadruple A center fielder, Jonathan Clase with a little bit of speed, just
Yeah.
crushed the ball. And such a huge win there. And as you said, every game mattered. I mean, even up to
Yeah.
the World Series, we had home field advantage over the Dodgers by one game. Like just crazy stuff. So
Yeah.
just
How
just an
about
awesome year. So many moments you can look back on. And even coming into the year, we didn't have a third baseman. That was a big thing. Like, oh come
yeah.
on, like Alex Bregman's out there. We need a third baseman. You can't have Ernie Clement out there all 162 games, and they did it. And oh, Addison Barger's a thing now, and just awesome stuff.
Narratives can change so quickly. Where were you when Easton Lucas shoved in early April in the rain against Boston? How about Paxton Schultz? I remember made his debut. I think it was coming out of the pen, and I think had the most strikeouts in a rookie appearance for the Jays, something like that, with 8 in 3 or 4 innings of work. Some of the names on this team, we had Jacob Barnes making the open day roster for this team. Dick Lovelady was on this team.
Oh yeah,
Josh Walker, Eric Swanson.
Eric
Spencer
Swanson.
Turnbull. Some of these names, I mean, we even brought Ryan Barucki back. How about that? But again, some of these names are just incredible. And to think that you had guys like that on the roster and this was a team that won the division. I think another big thing too is I remember back in August, we obviously put up, I think it was the number 45 runs in 3 games against the Rockies. That felt like the peak of the season. We're just slobbering a team in the bunker. But there were a bunch of top teams that we really were performing well against. Remember, we lost that Dodgers series in August, right? We lost, I think, at the end of August, a series to the Brewers. They look like a top team. We go into early September, Bo goes down with an injury. We lose the series to the Yankees. Right at the end of the season, the Red Sox come into town and they look like they're taking the division right away from us in the last week of September. So honestly, with the past playoff experiences and the way some of the better teams were outperforming us in the regular season, I wasn't feeling great, honestly, going into the playoffs, but boy, did they prove us wrong because pretty much everyone they outperformed and the offense exploded like they were facing the Rockies every game, seemingly. Like, honestly, it felt like that.
Yeah, and it was a great offense. Like it wasn't contact heavy. We've talked about this before, where we just get the bat on the ball and get blue pits everywhere, and just some Rays devil magic stuff where just balls seem to be dropping everywhere. We hit bombs, man. We hit a lot of home runs, and I
Yeah.
mean Vlad and Bo didn't hit a home run for what, like the first 3 weeks.
Forever. Bo took until like mid-May.
Yeah, just crazy
Yeah.
stuff. So we're not even talking about the playoffs. Like game one of the ALDS, crazy stuff. Alejandro Kirkbaum. I mean, you
Yeah.
were there, right? Like
Yeah.
nuts stuff.
Couple of home runs in that game. Like Vlad again, after he hadn't hit one in like a month,
Yeah.
right? Going back to early September, he launches immediately and then has arguably the best playoff run in Jays history. I mean, it's up there. And if they won, I think undoubtedly it would be. I mean, again, it's so frustrating because they came one game short, but and we said this as well with Vlad that in the end, did he really have a regular season to his standards? Probably not, right? And if he's going to be a mid-20s home run guy because he is such a line drive hitter, we'll take that if the Jays are going to make the playoffs every year and he does that because I think he had one eight, close to 850 OPS in the regular season. It looked like another decent Vlad year. And I just wonder at this point, is he ever going to replicate that 2021? I wonder, hitting 48 home runs. It's interesting, but we'll take that regular season production if he does that in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Vlad really looked great up until he got hit in the hands, I believe. And
Yeah,
just after
true,
that, he
true.
I mean, what was it? Start of September, he was awful. Like, I mean, we get to game 162. I'm talking to my dad. He said, "Man, the Jays got to move Vladimir Guerrero Jr. down in the lineup."
Oh my God.
I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, the guy you just gave $500 million to, Vladdy just moved
Yeah,
down to the fifth spot for today. Like, come on. But that's how rough it was after he got hit in the hands, and even Springer hit in the head. He was gone for what, 3 weeks, and just a
yeah,
lot of injuries. And we talked about the Yankees series, the 4 game sweep of the New York Yankees, the biggest series of the year. The Jays didn't have Bo Bichette or Dalton Varsho, like just nuts stuff. And then even being good after losing a high leverage arm like Jimmy Garcia and even Nick Sandlin, who had his moments. Um, I mean, the
yeah,
bullpen struggled late in August. That was a real tough stretch where just guy after guy. I mean, Yariel, Louis, Sir Anthony, Jeff, like it was just over and over again.
everyone.
Um, but near the end of the year, they really solidified it, and that's without Sandlin and Garcia, guys who are supposed to come back next year. I mean, there's a lot of bullpen guys um, next year, like just guys that are healthy, and
Yeah,
like Tommy Nance probably doesn't have a spot, and it's gonna get tight, man. Anyways, we'll look to next year and see how this year set it up for next year. This is the optimism pod, guys. We're not dwelling.
exactly.
Game seven of the
Nope.
World Series didn't happen. Uh,
Long gone.
on to next year, and a huge part of that is Addison Barger and Ernie Clement being full-time players. Like this is huge.
Yeah. 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 This season kind of felt like the showcase, right, for a lot of these AAA guys, and a lot of them proved themselves. Like you said, it's hard to believe sometimes that some of these guys are in their late 20s, actually. Like these aren't really the young Jays anymore of the 20, 21-year-olds. I think Trey's going to be the youngest next year and he'll be 23. So you look at some of these guys, they're ready for everyday roles. They really are. And the way they performed, especially this season, like you mentioned, Barger, 20 plus home runs, Ernie, I mean, what more can you say about the guy? Like literally, what more can you say about the guy breaking the record for most hits? Are you kidding me? Like in the playoffs in a single run, these guys are going to be integral parts to this team next year. And I think that's what's really attracting a lot of fans to this team is you think back a couple years, who was our third baseman? It was Matt Chapman. Granted, he was great on defense, right? But I don't know how many times we saw Matt Chapman come up and strike out in a big moment. Ernie Clement does not do that. He just doesn't. He puts the ball in play. Sure, he won't hit a lot of home runs, but he'll drive in runs, he'll manufacture runs, he can run the bases well. This is the kind of scrappy team that, again, we've mentioned this before, that you look back at the early 2020s and the teams that Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro were trying to put together, 21 and 22, it was very offensive heavy, right? They were trying to go with a lot of power, put the ball over the wall. The bullpen was horrible. All right, we had like Rafael Dolis trying to close some games back in 2021. That was really bad. Yeah, we're bringing back Rafael Dolis.
Tyler Chatwood.
2023, oh my God. Don't get me started. I mean, some of the names were just horrible. And 2023, the bullpen's incredible. Everyone seemingly has a career year. I think Tim Mesa had like a ERA in the ones. The bullpen's incredible. That offense was putrid. And watching them in the Twin Series in 23 in the wild card was horrible. Let's not even mention 2024. So I just love how this team has gelled, the way they've been able to put the pieces together over a 4 or 5 year stretch. They promised that they would put a good team together a couple of years ago in the beginning of the Vladimir era. It took a little while, but like you said, for guys like Barger, guys like Lucas, guys like Clement, Schneider, all these guys, it's incredible to see. And we talked about with this run as well. Rogers, you made a lot. You made a lot this year, right? We'll just say that. So for guys like Bichette, obviously that are big names and are free agents, hopefully they bring him back. But even just for other free agents, Toronto's a top destination now. Like, some of the big names out there. Let's take a look at Toronto. We're the big dogs. We were 1 game short. Hopefully that sets us up to get some good free agents.
Yeah, 100%. It was like you were looking at my notes. That was my next point, just money in all caps.
Yep.
Rogers made a crazy amount of money. Will we ever find out?
Oh man.
Probably not. But I mean,
No.
it's every day you would go on Twitter and see Sportsnet just had their like most viewed game ever, like just every other day.
Yep.
So crazy amount of money. And then if you watched our Shane Bieber reel where we touched on his decision to opt into his deal next year with the Blue Jays, taking on 12 million. Just huge stuff to start the offseason with a guy who wants to be here, who wants to take a pay cut. We don't know if the Jays are going to extend him yet, but if the guy's betting on himself and is willing to make 12 million next year and to lower the cap hit for next for this year, that would be huge. Like just
Yeah.
huge that guys want to play here. And I'm
Yeah.
excited to see. I mean, if I saw some quotes yesterday, I couldn't watch the interview of Mark Shapiro and Ross Atkins, but Ross was saying some spicy comments, man. He was saying,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
"Hey, I'm looking into trading for some starters. Joe Ryan, Sandy Alcantara. There are some big names that could be
Yeah.
on the trade block, and Ross the boss is on the loose right now. And then here, let's touch on free agency here, man. There's a lot of good starters out in free agency. My list, top of the list for me is Michael King. This guy wasn't very healthy this past year,
Yeah.
but the guy strikes guys out. I mean, if you watched
Yeah.
him with the Yankees, looked really good in a relief role with the Yankees, and then later with the starter. But this guy, when the Padres were in the playoffs last year, I think struck out 10 or
Yeah.
11
I
in
think
the
it was
wild
12
card.
even. I
12,
think it was
just
12. Yeah.
crazy stuff. And then yeah, so he's top of my list. Who's top of yours, Aiden?
Well, I think just like it happened before where you read my mind, I was reading your mind
Oh
because I
man.
had Michael King as well. So how
Oh
about
man.
that? Now, I do like the Michael King idea, but then again, we have a lot of righty pitchers, right? Especially starters. We didn't really have a lefty starter, unless you want to count Eric Lauer, right? Who sort of filled in midway through the season, but he really wasn't a guy that stuck throughout the year. The top guy that I have, aside from Michael King, who's the lefty, I got Ranger Suarez from the Phillies. And this guy's been great for the Phillies. A couple years ago, came up as a reliever, transitioned into a starter role, and again, pitching behind some really high-end pitchers there in Philly with obviously Zach Wheeler and Christopher Sanchez and Aaron Nola, amongst others. But he really filled into a nice role for the Phillies. He's been a dependable guy. He has been an all-star, and he's traditionally been a low three ERAs guy as a starter. And how about a 1.48 ERA in 42 and two-thirds playoffs innings? That's a pretty good sample size for a guy that clearly has postseason experience. And how can that not help the Jays? Again, when they just had such a deep playoff run, we think back to the Yankee series when they had to rely on a bullpen game. If you have a Ranger Suarez in there, maybe you don't have to open that game with Louis Varland, right? And you can save him. So he's one of the other guys I have. I have Michael King also. Threw a Shota Imanaga in there as well. He's now a free agent with the Cubs. Not feeling great about that one, but again, just another lefty option, maybe. But Ranger and King would be my top two starters.
Interesting. So Ranger Suarez is an interesting guy. I've heard he's a great dude. Would fill in the
Yeah,
clubhouse and be that presence to maybe fill in Chris Bassett's spot. The thing that just worries me about Ranger is the fastball, man. The fastball's been decreasing. I think it's
yeah,
around 90, 91 right now. I don't feel comfortable giving him a long-term deal, 3 to 4 years. But the production's there. He's been a really good pitcher. He's
yeah.
on my list, just a little bit lower on my list. My second guy is a Japanese pitcher. His name
Here we
is
go. I like this.
Tatsuya Imai,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
my OCD kicks in because we have a full righty rotation. I don't
yeah.
care. This guy's nasty. Okay.
Okay,
This guy
okay.
throws 95, 97, great numbers in the Nippon Professional Baseball League in Japan. And I think he would be great with the Toronto Blue Jays. I want guys who throw fast. I want guys who throw hard, guys who strike guys out as a starter. I mean, Kevin Gausman throws what, 94, 95 when he has like 2 days rest, right? I want guys who go out every 5 days and throw 96, 97, 98. And that's
Yeah,
what Tetsuya Imai can do. I think he'll get 22, 23 million per year, around 4 or 5 years. And I think he's a great option. And number three for me, the OCD kicks in, but I am avoiding it. It is Dylan Cease,
mm,
another right-handed pitcher. This guy is really good. This guy strikes dudes out, man. He throws really hard. He has a nasty slider, and I think he'd be really good as well. Didn't have the best just raw numbers last year. You look at his ERA, it's around 4. But the peripherals, the metrics, love him. This guy
yeah.
strikes a lot of dudes out. I think he'd be great as a Blue Jay. And then just to finish out my list, I have a few lefties in Ranger Suarez and the clubhouse guy himself, Framber Valdez. Um,
Mm. Okay,
I don't want Framber
okay.
Valdez, but I mean his market may not be popping right now, and
No.
if it's not, I wouldn't mind giving that guy a deal.
So you're mentioning a lot of guys that are high velocity. Are you saying you would fancy a Tarek Skubal? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Or let's just give up the whole farm. You know,
If we got the
everyone's
Mariners
gone.
farm system, I'd love a Tarek Skubal, but
Oh my God, we're pulling that. And you mentioned with Imai as well. We should just do that so the don't get him. Honestly, at this point, they're just building Team Japan. Who else? Like Murakami's coming over, and Okamoto, I think, is the other name. They're just gonna end up with everybody. I mean, Team Japan at this point. Let's at least take one of them. Shohei didn't want to come here. Yamamoto didn't want to come here. Roki didn't want to come here. Let's at least get one of them. So I
yeah.
like that idea. Moving to relievers too, I have a couple of Mets at the top of my list. I have Edwin Diaz actually at the top of my list. And you mentioned with the Ross Atkins press conference from yesterday, where he didn't say that Jeff Hoffman is married to that closer role. That was his terminology. So they're obviously looking at exploring some other options at the back end of the bullpen. And Diaz for his career has a sub 3 ERA. Looking at last year with the Mets, had a 1.63 ERA and closed out 28 games for the Mets. He's a high velocity guy. You want a guy coming out there pumping 100 to close the game with a wipeout slider? That's your guy. And
I mean,
how about the
Aiden, I want to hear the trumpets in the Rogers Center. I
Oh
just do.
my God, that
Come
would be
on.
incredible. Come on. I mean, okay, we had the Jordan Romano walkout, the tsunami. That was pretty good. He's a Canadian guy. The Jeff Hoffman one, a little more mellow. It's kind of cool. Hearing the trumpets pump out of there in Rogers Center. Oh my God, that'll be scenes. How about a complete shift though from Edwin Diaz to his Met teammate, Tyler Rogers? Give me a little 82 from down here, a little sidearm down here. He's incredible, man. I cannot believe this guy in his career has a sub 3 ERA and he throws, like we said, like low 80s, honestly. Went over after having a 1.8 ERA with the Giants in the first half, goes over to the Mets and has a 2.3 ERA. Talk about consistent, reliable. I want Edwin Diaz and Tyler Rogers.
Yeah, no, I have Edwin Diaz as well. The Tyler Rogers one caught me, and I love it. Like I think he's more of a low cost kind of guy, but he's really effective. I mean,
Yeah,
Mets traded quite a bit for
yeah,
him at the deadline. I think it was Drew Gilbert and
yeah,
another guy, um, Jose Budo, I think, to get him, and
yeah,
he was really effective. So I love that move. Love the little under the radar righty. We
yeah.
missed Adam Simber. We got to get a new one.
Oh
Um,
man.
I have a few other guys. So I love velocity. Okay, talked about that already.
Tell
Um,
me.
Robert Suarez. I mean,
Tell me.
I
Tell
mean,
me, man.
I mean,
Yes, sir.
this guy declined his option. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
Ryan Helsley looked
Ooh,
awful as a
okay.
Met. We're talking Met.
Yeah.
He looked horrendous.
Oh,
But I mean, the Blue Jays have been in on Cards guys, have been in on Helsley was a guy they talked about a lot around the deadline, and we opted to get Dominguez and Varland, but Helsley would be a good option, probably low cost. And then a name I've seen quite a bit is Devin Williams. I mean,
yeah.
this guy was great with the Brewers, up there with Edwin Diaz. Had a really tough start of the season with the New York Yankees, and then really settled in.
Yeah.
This guy was a very good leverage arm, pretty much a setup guy to David Bednar at the end of the season, and was shut down. Like he was
Yeah.
really good, and he's not going to ask for like Edwin
No,
Diaz kind of money.
not at all.
So that's another name I'm
Yeah.
looking at. And then just flipping it over to lefty relievers
Mm.
because I don't want Brendan Little to make the team next year. I don't
No,
want Brendan
please,
Little
no.
back. We'll touch on that later, just talking about who will and who won't come back. But I got some lefty relievers that are quite spicy. We talk about Danny Coulombe. I'm licking my
Ooh.
chops right now. Caleb Tealbar, just two guys who would do the job and get lefties out, and that's what we need. We can't rely on Mason Fluharty all next year.
No, no, and I was gonna say too that I've had it with the Brendan Little experiment. I'm done with that. I really like the Robert Suarez idea or the Edwin Diaz idea. Another under maybe not so much under the radar, but a little more of a lower leverage guy, just in case we're not gonna go out there and get the top dog. I threw in an Emilio Pagan, who was in there for the Reds last year, had a sub 3 ERA, had 32 saves for the Reds. Not really, again, not really a high velocity guy, but just in case we see, the Rogers and the Jays do it again, where they really don't go out and get the top reliever, which let's try and change that narrative. I really hope they don't do that again. You know what, let's just get Diaz, let's get Suarez, but just in case they don't do that, I threw in a Pagan. And like we said, I really don't want to rely on Fluharty as our top guy, high leverage guy as a lefty. I mean, he was great, man. Another great, AAA Bison story. But I've had it with Little. Honestly, I think that experiment's done. You have Fluharty, you have Lauer, and yeah, if you can add a Thielbar in there, like you mentioned, uh, Danny Coulomb, like you said, that would be kind of neat. How about some position players, though? Obviously, Bo Bichette is the number one priority, without a doubt. Obviously. But in the event, we don't want to be negative on here, we don't want to be pessimistic, but in the reality that he doesn't come back, a potential infielder I have is Jorge Polanco. A switch hitting guy, has some power. We saw the damage he was doing to us in the ALCS with that pop. You can slot him in right at second base. You know that Jimenez is going to be your shortstop. You have Ernie and Barger filling out the third base slot. You know Vlad's at first. In the event that Bo doesn't come back, I have Jorge Polanco as an infielder, and for the outfield, I'm done with Miles Straw. He was a nice piece, but we kind of did that experiment with Kevin Kiermaier before. We had to move on from him. It was nice, Miles Straw. We'll see you later, bud. Give me Harrison Bader, who was pretty good this year, honestly. Had some pop and is a really good defender.
I mean, Bader was excellent. Like he was so good on the Philadelphia Phillies, man. Like this guy dropped a 4.4 WAR, which
Wow.
is insane. So he'll probably ask for quite a bit of money, like I assume in the range of 12 to 15 million. But also a guy who smashes lefties is Rob Refsnyder. I mean, this guy's 35 years
Mhm.
old. Did not know that. He's been around forever. But Rob Refsnyder just crushes lefties. And then even a guy who was hurt for quite a bit of the season, but the Jays have been in trade talks with him for quite a bit of time, and he's been with the Guardians. Is Lane Thomas. I think Lane Thomas would be an interesting move. It's kind of a buy low, risky kind of move, but I like that. I think it could pay off. And then just going back to the Bo thing, um, if we don't re-sign Bo, that'll be so tough. I really hope that doesn't happen. But in the event that we don't re-sign Bo, I have Ross the boss hitting the trade market and going to get Brandon Lau from an AL
Okay.
rival. I think he's
Okay.
a really good second baseman and he's got some pop. And yeah, I mean another one like backup catcher if you want. If you don't want Tyler
Yeah.
Heineman coming back, do a little Danny Jansen action maybe. Um,
Hey, Tyler Heineman with, I think, what was it, a 117 WRC plus this year?
yeah,
I mean, I
he was
mean,
good.
he's not going to replicate that, but
No.
obviously he was good as the backup this year. And that's the tough thing about baseball is you're never going to see year in and year out the exact same roster. It just doesn't happen. There's going to be turnover, and I think that's another reason of the many reasons that this team really wanted to go out and win it. Because, like we said, guys like maybe an IKF, a Ty France, a Miles Straw, Brendan Little, guys that not be on this team next year, right? And may not have that opportunity to win the chip. So looking at the Jays guys, this is the toughest part is we love transactions, we love free agents coming over, but there's always going to be some tough decisions made within the organization. And like I just previewed there, those are some of the guys that I don't have coming back in IKF. It was nice, buddy, but we're done with that experiment. I mentioned Brendan Little, Ty France, and Miles Straw are going to be gone. They were extra pieces. And from the rotation, we brought Bieber back. Chris Bassett's a big question mark, and I think if you had to pick between him and Max Scherzer, I would pick Bassett. So I have Scherzer gone, and I have Sir Anthony Dominguez leaving as well.
Yeah, I got the exact same list here. Dominguez and Scherzer. Dominguez, like, kind of in the same boat as Little. Got a lot of
Yeah,
whiffs, got a lot of strikeouts. There's a lot of outings where you put them out on the mound and you don't know what you're going to get. Is this going to be a dude who just walks everybody, or is this going to be three strikeouts, just domination? And then I
yeah.
have a little maybe category where I slotted Chris Bassett. Like, I don't know what Chris Bassett's market's going to be.
I don't know.
Like if it's real low and we don't have the fifth starter, we don't want to put out Jose Barrios out as our fifth starter next year. Yeah, yeah, sure. Chris Bassett,
Yeah,
great dude and very productive in his time with the Blue Jays. And then maybe I had Tyler Heineman. Like
yeah.
if you can't
That's
find
fair.
anything,
Yeah.
sure, we need a magician in the clubhouse. And then my only will bring back is our guy Bo Bichette and Ben Nicholson Smith, a great reporter for Sportsnet. Was on, I think, Blair and Barker or Jay's Talk yesterday, and said that he heard that Bo may get around 5 years, 130 million. I would sign that yesterday. Like
Oh my
just
God. Yeah.
great value.
Oh my God, for sure. I honestly, I don't care what the number is. Do it. Do it yesterday. Do it tomorrow.
I
Do it two
do.
weeks ago.
I do.
I don't. I don't care. You gave Vlad what is Vlad getting like 40 mil a year, something like that. I think that's the deal, 40 a year.
Yeah.
I don't care. Bo wants 45. I don't care. I mean, that's
Holy
obviously not going to
smokes.
happen. Whatever it is, whether he's going to be a 20 a year guy, 25 a year, that's probably his range, right? Realistically, his value will obviously be very dependent on his position too. Is he going to be a shortstop? I don't see honestly how he can be a shortstop. There's talk about him going to the Braves or going to the Tigers, anywhere he goes. Some teams might want to slot him in at a shortstop position, but again, the range really isn't great. He's had a number of knee injuries. The guy really cannot move anymore. Even before that knee injury, Bo's sprint speed was really declining. I mean, he's not a 20 stolen base guy anymore. He's not even like a 5 stolen base guy anymore. The arm strength isn't great. I think his value will be great if he's a second baseman. We saw him do in the World Series. He looked pretty good. So it's actually crazy thinking back how much I actually hated the Andres Gimenez move just a year ago when they signed him. I'm actually loving it right now. You keep Jimenez at short, put Bo at second, whatever the number is, give it to him and keep this going, man. You have Vlad for 14 years. These guys have been together for 10 years in the organization. You can't let it end. You can't. Keep it going. Keep Bo back. Keep this run going. And just quickly looking at before we end here, the rotation for next year, you're obviously going to have Gosman and again, still crazy to say Trey Savage is probably your number two, but you'll have Gosman, Savage, Shane Bieber, Jose Barrios, and then the only question mark is the last spot. Do we see Bowden Francis come back and fill out that spot if they don't get a free agent? Do they get one of these guys, like we said, a Ranger Suarez, a Michael King? Does Eric Lauer just fill out the spot and he's just the magician maybe next year? Interesting to see, but the biggest move, like we said time and time again, is Bo. Bring him back.
Yeah, I'm on the Bo train. Bring him back. I do have a price range. Like, just don't
Okay,
be
45 is crazy. 40, I'm not saying 45. Like 20, 20,
Ross.
25.
Ross and Mark have made some pretty good deals in the past. Like even the Vlad one, 10 years, 500. Like not the
Yeah,
worst thing in the world. We were
no,
talking like high fives in spring training and got it down to 500. So I trust those guys. Welcome to the offseason, guys. Settle in. It's a long time, but I mean it's exciting. I mean, like
yeah,
signings happen like not often at all, but when they do, it's super
yeah,
exciting. So we will be
yeah,
sure to just talk about any Blue Jays signings
yeah.
across the
We
course of
will
this
be
offseason.
we will be live whenever there's a signing. And again, the fact that they got to Game 7 of the World Series means they shortened the offseason, right? And we're
Yeah,
closer to spring training.
yeah, 100%. And next week we got a little surprise. We're
Special
doing our
guest
first guest pod. We will
to be
surprise you
revealed.
guys when that comes
Yes,
out. But very exciting. We're very happy and excited about that.
absolutely. Looking forward to the next episode and looking forward to the rest of the offseason.
Thank you guys. Go Jays.
Thank you for tuning in. Go Jays.